starts near. Get ready.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to episode 30 of the Play to Win podcast. My name is Tyler, and I'm joined, as always, by my amazing, fantastic co-host, Keiran. What's going on, dude? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Had a fairly uneventful week.
Fairly uneventful week. Well, I've had a fairly eventful week in the sense that I haven't been feeling my best this week. Thursday was the worst of it. Feeling better now, though. So apologies for listeners. If you all if I sound weird, if I sound congested, nasally, all that, my nose is kind of stuffed up and stuff. It's been annoying, but I'm surviving. I'm making it through. It's not that bad. It's not the COVID. It's none of that stuff. So we're good over here. Remember, this is the Play to Win podcast, a weekly show where we break down the week's biggest gaming news through in-depth discussion. If you want to see all the different things that we're talking about and jump around in the show to just the thing that you're really interested in, you can check the timestamps down below in the description of the video or audio version of this podcast. Remember, go check out our site, playtowingames.wordpress.com, where you can find all of our content. It's a nice home for everything there. Read our reviews and previews. You can watch the stuff there as well. It's a nice place. It's a nice site. Go check that out. Go follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at Play2Win for updates on the show and other little things that we may post over there on our social media platforms, and chat with us over there. Get in contact with us over there. We're friendly. We like to talk with you guys. By all means, talk to us. Reach out to us. Subscribe to us over on YouTube as well. And turn the notification bell when you're over there on YouTube. That way as soon as videos go live. That way, if you're not on social media all the time and you don't see when we post saying, hey, it's up, or if our post saying that a video is up comes a couple hours after the video goes up, if you have the notification bell already on, you knew as soon as it happened. You're right there to the party. You're right there at the door as soon as the bouncer lets you in. So, it's great. Just turn that notification bell and you're already up to date on everything.
Yeah.
With all that housekeeping stuff out the way. Ooh, I forgot. Also, before we get into the episode, the last video that if you had your notification bell on, you would have known about is Keiran's 5 more big games on Game Pass video. 5 more of his favorite games, 5 more of the best games that he thinks are on Game Pass. Keiran, you want to say anything about it real quick before we get into this episode?
Just that you should go watch it. I put a little bit of time into it. I think it came out very well. And you can play those games right now on Game Pass. So go and check out.
Yeah, I checked the video out. Each of the games in that video, pretty great games. I have not played like 3 of them, I'm pretty sure. Or 4. I remember the games. I remember like some of the games in it. I don't remember one though. There's one I know I'm missing and I'm blanking on. Oh no, I remember it now. So I've only played 1 of the 5 games in that video. But regardless, even still, go check it out. If you've heard about the games, maybe this will remind you, I need to play them. If not, if you haven't heard about the games or just kind of forgot they were there, be like, oh yeah, let me go check this one out. Let me check this one out. Maybe it'll change your mind on something. Who knows? With all that being said, though, we're going to start getting into this episode. On episode 30 of the Play to Win podcast, we're going to go over Splinter Cell finally returning, seemingly. February 2022 being a stacked month for video games. We're going to be talking about some platform holder financial information. And we're also going to just briefly touch on Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and the GTA remasters, which all got new trailers in the past week. Before we get to those, though, we have some brief mentions to go over, and we're going to go over them in a very speedy fashion. So, without further ado, let's get into these brief mentions, starting with the fact that CD Projekt Red has delayed the next-gen versions of Cyberpunk 2077 and Witcher 3 to next year. Cyberpunks will be coming in Q1 2022, which is January to March, while Witcher 3 will be coming in Q2, which is April to June. They said they just want to take the time to get it right. Do your thing, take your time. You need to take the time. Still in the PC realm, kind of, sort of, Steam announced that they will be blocking games with NFTs or cryptocurrency, but the Epic Game Store is going to allow it. And people are not happy about that. Dead by Daylight's Pinhead character model is also now an NFT, and fans are not happy about that either. Sticking in the realm of people not being happy about things, Destiny 2 players are upset with how the game is handling dungeons for the Witch Queen expansion coming in February, because it's now kind of locked behind the deluxe edition version of the Witch Queen, and I don't think that was the case before. So people are not happy about that. And yeah, it kind of makes me just sit here and say, you know what? Do I even feel like getting back into Destiny 2 at this point? I actually do not know. Not people going away from people not being happy about games and everything. Doom can be played on Twitter through a bot account now. Just adding another place in which you can play Doom. You can play Doom on just about anything these days. Soon Skyrim will be the next thing that can be played on Twitter. Who knows? It's going from one console generation to another to Alexa. Sorry, I said that too loud and I was afraid mine would have like woken up. So I was like, oh, wait, hold on. Whenever I refer to her, I never say her actual name because I don't want her to wake up. Moving over to Xbox, Compulsion Games has announced that they are working on a third-person narrative single-player game. No further details about it have been announced. That's just all we know. Xbox Game Studios is reportedly working on a cloud-based MMO. If you want to read more about this, you can go over to VentureBeat because that's where we have all the details about it. There aren't really too many details about this right now, aside from the fact that it's the MMO would be like a scalable type of thing. So you could do everything in the game on any platform, but like if you're on your phone, then hey, let's just do some crafting and resource farming maybe. And then when you go to like your desktop or PC, this is where you do like the bigger raids and stuff like that. It seems interesting. It seems cool. Xbox also announced a 20th anniversary event that's happening on November 15th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. UK time. There aren't going to be any new announcements. It's just going to be a look back on Xbox's life and all. Xbox also announced that the Series X and S will be getting 512 gigabyte and 2 terabyte expansion cards. The 512 gigabyte one will be $139.99, and the 2 terabyte one will be $399. The 512 gigabyte card can be pre-ordered now and releases mid-November. The 2 terabyte card can be pre-ordered in November and will release in December. Those are very pricey cards. And unfortunately, these are still only Seagate cards. Seagate is still the only one putting out the expansion cards for Xbox. No one else is able to do it yet. So if you're an Xbox player who wants expansion cards, you still got to stick with Seagate. You're stuck with this proprietary one for the foreseeable future. Who knows when things will be opened up some. There's still one more thing for Xbox here. Oh, my doc page just reloaded. Oh my gosh. But I remember what it said. Final Fantasy 14 is still possibly in talks to come to Xbox. It's been a touching point for some time. Still might happen. Moving away from Xbox, God of War 2018 is coming to PC on January 14th, 2022. PlayStation fans, some people were upset about this. Silly reason to be upset. The game's 3 years old. It's coming to PC. Let more people play one of the best games ever made. The game is simply a masterpiece. And of course, when it comes to PC, it's going to have a number of different PC features, 4K 60. I think DLSS was something I read there. Ultra wide, a bunch of stuff. You can go read about it if you want to know more.
Yeah.
Sony also announced a state of play because they don't want to be left out of events happening coming up soon. They announced a state of play for October 25th at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. UK, and is focused on announcements and updates with upcoming third-party titles. Some games will be previously announced ones, and there will be some other reveals as well. They didn't say what these types of reveals will be, whether it be a new game reveal or whatnot, but there'll be some reveals. Fingers crossed for me, Final Fantasy 16. I'm hoping it appears there. Either that or Little Devil Inside. One of the two. Who knows what will happen. One thing that will not be at this state of play is the Uncharted movie, because that already got a trailer released this week, and it looks like an Uncharted movie. That's it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look great. It looks like stupid, mindless fun. And I just hope it's at the bare minimum good. Simple as that. Moving from Sony to Nintendo, Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp has been delayed to spring 2022. Nintendo just wants to get more time to work on it and all like that. Finally, rounding out our brief mentions here, Activision Blizzard claims to have fired more than 20 employees following the harassment lawsuit, while more than 20 others have faced some other form of disciplinary action. If true, this is good, but still more work needs to be done. More work should be done. Yep. More work has to be done. I guess the silver lining to all this, though, is that McCree's new name is Cole Cassidy. The name change takes effect on October 26th. There's a whole lore reason behind it. Blizzard put up a post basically kind of saying like, yeah, he kind of like ran from his past. Now he has to like accept it and all. And then they also said like, in order for the new Overwatch to be, what it has to be, this is happening. And so nice name. I think it's cool. A lot of people out there were kind of ragging on the Cole part of the name, not the Cassidy part. I'm just like, I think it's fine. Don't matter to me.
Yeah, I like it actually.
Yeah, I like it too. So good on them for getting the name changed. It's cool. It's a nice name. It's taking place literally the day after this podcast should be going up. And that will round out our brief mentions for this episode. Keiran, what you got to say?
I did want to tack on one thing to the end, in which the Series X Mini pre-orders went live, sold out, and you can now find them on eBay for £250.
They are normally £99.
It's £90 in the UK, $100 in the US, but you can find them on eBay, Facebook, everywhere for like 4 times the actual cost of them. For a mini fridge.
It's silly. It's a mini fridge, guys. Come on. Yeah. It's silly. I actually forgot about that. Well, I forgot about it when I was putting the dot together. Then I remembered it after I put it together. And I was like, oh yeah, I should probably put that in there. Forgot to put it in there. Thank you for reminding me. That would have been in the Xbox section. Keiran, people have been hoping. People have been asking for years and years and years and years. Ubisoft, bring back Splinter Cell. Getting my words mixed up. Every E3, people have been wondering, is Splinter Cell going to appear? Is this the year Sam Fisher appears? We get the trailer. Goggles come down. We see the green night vision goggles. Is this the year it happens? People have been wondering. And what have we gotten instead? Not Splinter Cell games. We've got Sam Fisher in a mobile game. Sam Fisher appearing in Rainbow Six Siege trailers.
Yep.
Sam Fisher appearing in Ghost Recon Wildlands or Breakpoint, whichever one it was. I'm pretty sure it was Wildlands, which he made a cameo appearance in. Basically appearing anywhere and everywhere except his own game.
Yeah.
But according to VGC, a decade later, Ubisoft has finally greenlit a new Splinter Cell game, according to their sources. Reading from this article by Tom Henderson, he says here, Ubisoft has greenlit what will be its first mainline Splinter Cell game in a decade. That's according to development sources who told us that the title has been put into production as a means of winning back fans frustrated by recent efforts to revive the franchise in the mobile and VR spaces. I forgot about that VR game too. It's not clear which studios are working on the project, though 2 people with knowledge of Ubisoft's plans suggested the new Splinter Cell was being led by a studio outside of its traditional Montreal base. The title is in an early phase of production, the sources said, but there's a small chance it could be announced next year. I'm going to end the article there because after that, we kind of just go on like backstory of Splinter Cell and all like that. But they do say, I think I just want to have some context here. They note that the most recent Splinter Cell game was 2013's Splinter Cell Blacklist. And 8 years since its release represents the longest period without a new entry in the franchise since it debuted in 2002. That's a long time. And I remember Blacklist. I never played it, but I remember that one coming out. And I forgot that was a 2013 game. Like the games that came out in 2013, I always forget that they were a thing because I just remember 2013 as the next gen year, PS4 year. And I always just, whenever I think about 2013, I think about GTA, Last of Us, BioShock. Those are the 3 games I think of for 2013. Anything else that year, I completely forget about entirely. So yeah, it apparently it's finally happening. And, some people were like, yes, this is awesome. This is great. And then some people were like, okay, I will wait to be excited until either A, this game is in my hands, because look at Beyond Good and Evil 2, that got announced. Where is that?
Yep.
Or B, which is kind of the question here, what are we expecting from modern day Ubisoft with this? Like, this is modern day Ubisoft we're talking about. This isn't the Ubisoft that like put out the Splinter Cell games back in the day. This is the Ubisoft now where we are kind of focused on, we're getting more of a focus on live service games. We're getting more of a focus on games just being like these large open worlds with like a crazy number of things to do and everything like that. That gets to be built upon over multiple months and years or so on and so forth. Is that what, I don't believe that's what people would want from a Splinter Cell game.
Oh, no.
So, do we have high hopes for a Splinter Cell game from modern day Ubisoft? What do you think?
First off, I am absolutely in the category of people who are like, I am going to believe this exists when I have it in my hands. I am like, or at least when they announce it, because every year, like you say, every E3, every Gamescom, every Game Awards, every major event, people are like, oh yeah, we're gonna get a new Splinter Cell, and there's like a new report every year that like Ubisoft might be working on a Splinter Cell game, and it never apparates, it gets announced, never appears. So I am very, very, very skeptical that this is real. But if it is real, I don't know if Ubisoft have the mindset nowadays to give fans what they want, because I imagine they want, like, fans want Splinter Cell like the Splinter Cell of old, where it's like a linear story and not like super open world, and the size of Assassin's Creed Odyssey with a million side quests. Like, people don't want that. They just want a regular Splinter Cell game. And I don't. I'm of the opinion that Ubisoft, while I think they would attempt it, they probably wouldn't nail it, because they have spent so long developing, like you say, live service games, mobile games, free play games, huge open world games. Like that's I would say that has been their main focus over the last 5-6 years at least. So I'm hopeful that it's good, but I'm not expecting it to be exactly what fans want.
Question: have you played any of the Splinter Cell games? Because I never did. Okay, so neither of us have played a Splinter Cell game.
Nope.
So like my understanding of Splinter Cell has always been, like you said, they've been linear games. You have your linear story, you're stealthing about through missions and everything. Yeah. There is multiplayer in them. I know they have the spies versus mercs mode, and they also had a co-op mode as well. I actually remember when I was younger. I don't know if you ever watched G4 back in the day.
Nope.
But I think it was on XPlay. I'm pretty sure it was on XPlay. They would have a little mini skit series they would do on XPlay every so often. That I forgot. I think it was called like Bob and Steve or something like that. And it was in Splinter Cell's co-op mode. And like the two characters was Bob and Steve. It's like getting into stuff in the co-op mode and stuff. And it was funny. But like that was like my closest like attachment or connection to the co-op mode. That being said, I know that like the co-op, the multiplayer, Spies vs. Mercs, the story, they're all like held in high regard to Splinter Cell fans from back in the day and all. So people would want that to be brought back in a modern day Splinter Cell, but also modernized as well. Like I'm sure people were like, yeah, give me exactly what I had back in the day. But if you got exactly what you had back in the day with no modern updates or anything like that, they'd be like, okay, actually, hold on, wait a second. So like, of course, it would need to be modernized in some type of way. And I don't think anyone doesn't want Ubisoft to modernize Splinter Cell, because of course, gaming has changed so much in the past generation that Splinter Cell has been gone. I mean, you look at Metal Gear Solid and like what that kind of did with like stealth gameplay and everything like that. Metal Gear Solid 5 specifically, how people praised the mess out of that game for its gameplay and all like just the possibilities it gave to you. You look at Hitman, kind of sort of, and just like how Hitman modernized itself over the course of this past generation. And it was like, yeah, we're gonna do episodic, and then they didn't do episodic anymore. But you still had your world of assassination, and each level just gave you so many different possibilities of things to do, and so on and so forth. Like they modernized Hitman while still keeping it true to what it was back in the day. And because this is Ubisoft, I wonder if they'll be able to do that. Part of me thinks that they know, as they said in the article, Ubisoft wants to like win back the trust of fans that have felt burned by them for so long. But I would not be surprised if Ubisoft put out a Splinter Cell game where it's just there's a bunch of different microtransaction things for you to do. There's like I won't say heavy emphasis on live service, but like a lot of live service elements in there.
Yeah.
And like I think something I could see them doing that would like appease fans in a way that still fits what Ubisoft is trying to do with their games would be you have your linear story, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like over after the game comes out, let's say every month they drop like 2-3 new missions that kind of like continue the story in a sense. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like you get, I say, all right, we finished the main story. Now here's another 2-3 missions this month that take you to this part of the world to stop like this person. To kind of you, and then there's like then the next month there's another 2-3 missions that kind of continue the story. Kind of like how Modern Warfare, 2019's Modern Warfare, that came out, and then the Spec Ops mode in that game was supposed to like continue on the main story's campaign without actually being a sequel.
Yeah.
You remember that? Kind of, I guess like that's how it would like continue on the main story without just stepping into sequel territory or anything like that. But you would just get a few new missions each month. And maybe if each month is too frequent for Ubisoft, then maybe every 2 months. I only said every month. That way you keep people interested coming back every month.
Yeah.
If you do it every 2 months, or I feel like 2 months is the farthest you could go. If you go any longer than every 2 months, then you risk people forgetting and becoming uninterested. And if you do it, if it becomes more than every 2 months, then you need to give more than just 2 to 3 missions. Or those 2 to 3 missions need to be very substantial in what they offer you and what you can do with them.
Yeah.
And like if it's every month, then you can have 2 to 3 simple missions. You go through them, you knock them out, and I don't know, let's say hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe, who knows? And you're like, that was my Splinter Cell fix for this month. Cool. I'll be back next month to see where this continues going. Maybe that's something they could do to feed into their live service plan that they're trying to go for in more of their games while still, appeasing fans of giving them kind of what they want in a sense.
Yeah. Do you so in that scenario where they release say three missions a month, do you think they would like battle pass that, where they would be like pay $7.99, $5.99, however much to gain access to these monthly missions?
I would hope not, because people would kind of be upset with that.
Oh yeah.
And because I mean that's more like season pass. Battle pass is a different word. Is different wording. Season pass I think works better, because battle pass implies like progression and stuff like that. Season pass, it's like, oh, you get access to this stuff. But I mean, even then, that toes the line in a sense, because if it's a season pass, there needs to be other stuff we're getting in addition to this content. If it's a season pass, then it's like we're paying for the expansion pack, like back in the day, and that type of stuff has kind of gone the way of the dinosaur in recent years. Since Fortnite brought about the battle pass, expansion packs and stuff like that have gone away. We haven't seen that type of thing anymore, where you pay for all this extra content. It's like now it's like the content is kind of like given to you freely. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like Destiny 2 has a season pass, I know. But if I'm right, their season pass, like, yes, their season pass gives you access to a new bunch of story content, but isn't it also more so just like, here's also like a pass that gives you all this extra stuff as well too? It's not just the story content.
Yeah, so I would kind of describe Destiny 2 season pass as like a season pass and a battle pass rolled into one, because you have the
that's
element
what I thought of it as.
Yeah, you have the element of like you're getting weekly story updates weekly story updates in terms of like you can go and do this thing this week and this thing next week and this thing the next week. And then you also have the like kind of battle pass side of it, where you level up in the season to say like season or level 8 or something, and you get 2,500 glimmer and a legendary engram or something. I don't know, but it kind of rolled into one.
Yeah, so maybe if it was something like that, but again, I don't think they want to bring a battle pass, anything like that into the game, because that's going to upset people for sure, and they certainly know that. So Yeah, I am hesitant. As I said on Twitter, I was like, this is great. I wonder how this is going to be, though. I wonder what a modern day one looks like for Ubisoft. So, fingers crossed that it actually ends up being the type of game that people want it to be. I'm of the mindset of I will wait. I will reserve my excitement for fans and anticipation until not until we get an announcement. Announcement, cool. But until we actually see gameplay of it. Once we see gameplay, then we can say, all right, then we can kind of start to be excited. Like Ubisoft gets what they're doing with this. They kind of understand what they're doing. And once we find out more details about it, until then, I'm happy that it's coming back seemingly. I'll reserve my excitement. And I'm certain that many other Splinter Cell fans are kind of the same mindset.
Yeah, I agree with that. If it's real, because like you said, right now I don't think it is, but if it's real, I will definitely, not that I think I would play it anyway, because I'm not a stealth person. Like I will run in and do it rather than like I'll go in guns blazing rather than trying to stealth my way about. But I will wait and see how it works before I have any level of excitement for it.
Now, I trust VGC. I'm pretty sure they're telling the truth. They like their sources wouldn't lie to them about this. I'm pretty sure it's probably happening unless plans change. It's happening. So we'll leave it at that. Now, moving on to games that are coming up very soon, and a month that is becoming even crazier. February 2022 is just the month for games now. It's the month that all these games are getting delayed to. It's the month that bunch of big games are releasing in, and this is kind of a conversation that's been stemming for I'd say the past month since certain game and release dates have been announced. But the most recent one is kind of what made me say, we need to talk about this. So over this past weekend, after we recorded the last episode, that same weekend, maybe even the same day we recorded the last episode, Elden Ring gameplay leaked. It's like 30 seconds of gameplay. It was just a character looking out over the open world. They jumped on a ledge, and that was about it. Nothing crazy, nothing too fantastic. I think that same day or maybe a day or two later, From announced that Elden Ring was delayed to February 25th. Now, that is also the same day as Saints Row, the new Saints Row game. And then I was like, wait a second. This February is crazy now. So I'm going to read off all the big games that are releasing in February. Okay.
Yep.
I don't have Life is Strange Remastered Collection on here. That comes out February 1st. Only reason I don't have it here is just because it's a remastered version of the first Life is Strange and Before the Storm. I'm not trying to give it shade. I'm just not putting it in here for that reason.
Yeah.
So, starting at the beginning of the month, big games releasing in February. Dying Light 2, Stay Human. It's coming out February 4th. King of Fighters 15 comes out February 15th. Horizon Forbidden West comes out 3 days later on February 18th. Destiny 2, The Witch Queen comes out 4 days later on February 22nd. That same day, Sifu, the martial arts game, comes out February 22nd. And then 3 days after that, on February 25th, we get Elden Ring and Saints Row. Now, Keiran, what even is February? What's up with February here?
I feel like they have condensed the year of 2022 for video games into 1 month.
It is wild. And I think it'd be different if they were a bit more spread out, but it's like all these big games are literally coming in the last half of the month in a 10-day time span. Like, I'm not a fighting person, but I know King of Fighters is a big deal. So King of Fighters 15, the 15th, and the big game Swarm ends on the 25th. Within 10 days, a bunch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big games are coming out. It is absolutely wild.
It's too many.
Now, I imagine the reason is that I don't know how it is for all companies, but I imagine that for some companies, maybe their fiscal years or quarters or whatever ends in March.
Yeah.
And they want to get these games out before the year ends. That way they can report, they can have, a nice financial boost and everything before fiscal quarter ends and stuff. That is what I imagine. And that is part of why I don't think I don't think some of these games will get delayed.
No.
Although I would love for them to. Dying Light will probably be fine where it is. It's not going to get moved. It's at the beginning of February. It's away enough from the chaos. Of the ones at the end, I feel like some of them should be delayed. I don't know if any of them will be delayed. So are you worried about any of these games just releasing so close to one another? Are you worried about any of them or all of them?
I mean, the one that stands out to me is Sifu, because it releases the same day as Witch Queen, which, like, okay, ones I'm not worried about are Elden Ring, Destiny, and Horizon, because those are, I say Horizon because all those games have huge fan bases that will buy that game, and they will buy it and play it on day one, and they will finish it. So those ones I'm not super worried about. Saints Row, 2 reasons. One, it's the same day as Elden Ring, and I think people are far more excited for a new like Souls-like game than they are for a new Saints Row. And 2, the reception that Saints Row has had so far is divided, right? You've got some people who are excited for it, some people who doesn't think it looks that great. So on that basis as well, I think Saints Row needs to be moved, because if it releases the same day as Elden Ring, it's not going to sell well.
It's not at all. If anything, if it releases within a 2-week window of Elden Ring, within 2 weeks after Elden Ring, it's a wrap. Before or after that game specifically.
Yeah. I'll rephrase what I said. I still think it will sell well. I think it won't sell as well as it could.
Exactly. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant.
Sifu, as this is not any shade towards the developer. It's not any indication on the game. It's a small game. It's a game that, not in terms of, releasing on the same day as the Witch Queen, not that many people are paying attention to in comparison to Destiny, right? Doesn't have that limelight that Destiny has. So that needs to be moved, especially Sifu is the PlayStation exclusive, right?
I think it's PlayStation and PC. I know it's not on Xbox, but it might be PC as well. I'm not sure.
But they have like some sort of partnership or something with PlayStation. I'm fairly certain.
It's been in their shows.
Yeah, exactly. So I think also because of that reason, because Destiny has that, although the partnership isn't there, because the partnership between Destiny and Sony ended when they separated from Activision, because it was Activision who controlled that deal. But I think because they used to have that deal, and because I think one of the largest places Destiny has its player base is PlayStation, Sifu needs to be moved to probably, like you say, either 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after.
Real quick, I just want to jump in here real quick. I 100% agree with you about Saints Row. I would totally move it as well if I was Volition. Well, I don't think it's Volition making it. I'm not sure who's making it right now. It might be Volition. Could be misremembering things. But if I was them, I would move Saints Row to get out the way of Elden Ring. Specific, like, you're releasing 3 days after Witch Queen, but you're releasing the same day as Elden Ring. You get out. You already know everyone's excited for Elden Ring. People are dying for a new Souls game from Software. You just move way out the way. You get out. That'd be like the same day releasing as Breath of the Wild sequel. You move. You just get out the way. Just like everyone did with Cyberpunk. We were like, oh, Cyberpunk's December. Go to January. Go to February. Bump up to the beginning. Bump up to later in December. Something. Just move out the way. Saints Row does need to move 100%. Sifu, I love it. I'm all in on it. I think it should definitely move as well if it's coming out the same day as Witch Queen. Granted, there are 2 very different audiences.
Yeah.
But as you said, Sifu is a smaller game, and Destiny 2 is what will have all the eyes that day. So I think it will probably be in Sifu's best interest to either move up a bit or move down a bit, maybe to the beginning of March. Something just to get some breathing room from Destiny and Elden Ring. Because yes, it's releasing the same day as Destiny, but it's also sandwiched between that and Elden Ring. Yeah. And I imagine you could finish Sifu in a short amount of time, but being sandwiched between those 2 big games, that sounds just like, that sounds a bit rough. That sounds a bit tight right there.
Yeah. Just quick note, I did look up. It is Deep Silver Volition who is making Saints Row.
Got it.
One thing I will say also in the defense of Horizon staying where it is
That's the one I want to say something about. Go ahead.
um you it's releasing quite close to Elden Ring, right? It's a week apart, but you are still gonna have people who are, like me, who will sit down and play something. Like, so they will sit down and finish Horizon in a week. You're gonna
Mhm.
have that group of people. As much as that group of people is, I think, a small portion of the player base of it, you are still gonna have those people. And I think it is far enough before Elden Ring that it's still gonna sell well. Although I could also see them saying we're gonna move maybe like a week before.
You see, here's my thing with Horizon, though. I don't think they're worried about it selling. I think they're worried about the reception, critical reception.
Yeah.
Because the first Horizon came out, if I'm correct, I don't remember the exact day, but I think it was like end of February, like a February 28th is like the number in my head. Breath of the Wild came out a couple days later. It was like the beginning of March when Breath of the Wild came out. Both great games, both sold well, but Horizon got overshadowed by how good Breath of the Wild was received. Even though people really liked Horizon, Breath of the Wild just overshadowed it. And I'm so sure that Sony has been so worried about that happening again with Horizon Forbidden West. I would be so positive that they are. And Destiny 2 Witch Queen, while not the same realm as Horizon, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, that might take some attention away, but they're two different genres entirely, so they might not be too worried. Elden Ring, though, again, two very different genres, but Elden Ring's reception could still really overshadow Horizon Forbidden West and how good that game is. Like, the great things about Elden Ring could overshadow everything great about Horizon.
Yeah.
Because like I could see people saying, oh man, the exploration in Elden Ring is so much better than Horizon, or the backstory and like the world building of Elden Ring is so much better than Horizon. And it's like, yet again, Horizon is stuck in this situation where it's being compared to a game that released days apart from.
Yeah.
Even though there's so much great about Horizon, people are comparing it to this other game that came out days later because it shares some similarities with it. And like, I'm so sure I wouldn't be surprised if that is what Sony and Guerrilla are kind of debating right now. Now they know Elden Ring is releasing a week after them. If they're like, should we move? Should we move this to beginning of March? Should we move this maybe up a week? Bump it up to February 11th or something.
Yeah.
Just to give it 2 weeks away from Elden Ring. Give it just so it has its own time to shine, because the first Horizon did not have its own time to shine.
No.
And like you said, like, yeah, people can finish this in a week before Elden Ring, but then they go to Elden Ring and then it's like, oh man, Elden Ring is like so much better or whatever, so on and so forth and stuff. And that's also the fact. There's also the fact to remember that reviewers will have both these games the same exact time. Most likely, they will have both these games at the exact same time. So both of them will be in their minds at the exact same time. And Sony will probably want to try to avoid any type of like comparison or overshadowing for Horizon, if at all possible. But again, because of financial reasons, I don't think Horizon will be moved. I think Horizon might end up staying exactly where it is.
Yeah.
And we'll have to thug it out and like really prove its worth. But I would much rather have Horizon be moved. Just come after Elden Ring or come a week earlier in February, so you have your own time and so you're not getting overshadowed yet again by another big game coming out days after you. Because that would just be awful if that happened yet again.
Yeah. Because I looked them up. Horizon Zero Dawn launched the 28th of February, and then Breath of the Wild launched on the 3rd of March. So literally 4 days apart.
Exactly. This is 7 days apart, but I mean, it's not much better. It's still like, and if anything, I don't know if I'd say Elden Ring is more anticipated than Breath of the Wild was, but Elden Ring is super highly anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot on the line right here. There's a whole lot on the line. So that's personally what I would do. I don't think it will happen though. And I feel so bad for Horizon if it actually sticks to that date. We know Destiny's not moving. Bungie already said, they put out a funny tweet. They were like, something about like, yeah, Savathun is fine. Savathun's not moving for anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So like Destiny 2 is not moving. So it literally comes down to Saints Row needs to move. Sifu should probably move. And Horizon might be in your best interest to move a bit as well.
Yeah.
February, man. It's gonna be a big month. And I already know I want to play Dying Light and Horizon, maybe Destiny 2. Who knows? I want to play Sifu. I'll play Saints Row, maybe. I don't think I'll touch Elden Ring with a 10-foot pole, but who knows? We'll see how I feel about Souls likes by the time that game comes around.
Yeah, that's something I forgot to mention. Is I'm surprised you referred to Dying Light by its full name.
I hate the full name, but I'll just refer to it by the full name just because that's the actual name. So why not?
Actually, one more thing that just popped into my head. Remember that like big Nvidia leak that happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago? Apparently, according to that, Hollow Knight Silksong is releasing on February 4th. According to that, I don't think that's true. I think that that game is still a little bit more of a ways out. But if by some measure it is, then I know what I'm playing for February.
You know, I don't want to talk about Hollow Knight Silksong. I don't want to speak on it because I have nothing to say about it. I know nothing about the games. I just know that Silksong is super highly anticipated. If it did come out that day, that would just be another like blow to February. And just like, man, this month is insane. This month is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And I imagine when we find that out, it'd probably be like a month or two prior to its actual release. Like we'd probably find that out in December. I can see that being a Game Awards announcement, if anything at all. Please. Now let's talk about some financial information, Keiran. PlayStation has somehow bested Nintendo, and Game Pass is kind of slowing down its growth this past year. First, we're going to talk about PlayStation. They somehow managed to end the Switch's 33-month streak at the top of the US monthly hardware charts, which is actually wild. I'm reading this IGN article from Jared Moore saying the PlayStation 5 has finally broken Nintendo Switch's 33-month run. Ooh, excuse me. My throat, man. Told you. The PlayStation 5 has finally broken Nintendo Switch's 33-month run of selling the most console units in the US monthly hardware charts. As per data collected by the NPD Group, the PlayStation 5 has finally come out on top of the Nintendo handheld to become the best-selling hardware platform across the US in September, selling the most units and making the most money. The Nintendo Switch's remarkable run shouldn't be understated, having led the US console market in units sold on a monthly basis since November 2018. When it took over from the PlayStation 4, the Switch's 33-month run has seen it consistently outsell both Sony and Microsoft, despite the latter pair releasing new flagship consoles within that time. And I'm going to read one more here. It says, while the Switch remains the best-selling console in terms of units sold across the US year to date, that means as of this year, so up to this point, as of August, the PlayStation 5 had surpassed Nintendo's console in terms of dollar sales, and that continued last month. Keiran, first off, I want to say congratulations to Sony. Congratulations to Sony for managing to knock Nintendo off for this 1 month. That is amazing. That's absolutely impressive in a pandemic. But more so, I want to give props and congratulations to Nintendo. Nintendo held this for almost 3 full years. For nearly 3 full years, Nintendo had the Switch at the top of the US monthly hardware charts. And that, I know we've said it before, when we've talked about the Switch's financials, when we've talked about the Switch in general, that the Switch is a absolute juggernaut. It's a beast. But it cannot be stated enough that the Switch is an absolute juggernaut and an absolute beast of a console or handheld, hybrid, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's a beast of a machine to have been at the top for 33 months. And I mean, if anyone was to knock it down, it would have been the PS5. Of course, it would have been. It's just surprising that it happened in a pandemic. That's what's just so shocking about it. Just like, wow, after all this time, this is when it happened. It's like, It's also the fact that it didn't happen when the consoles first came out. It didn't happen last year in November. It didn't happen last year, December. It happened this year, this year in September. Just like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, the point you brought up was exactly what I was going to say. Is like, if anything was going to beat it, it was going to be PS5. It's not going to be Xbox, because I think a lot of people are still skeptical about Xbox since, the whole always online and no exclusives and stuff like that. But yes, big congratulations to Sony. Even bigger congratulations to Nintendo for holding it for almost 3 years, which is insane. Are we going into the two things you have here?
Yeah. So like, what do you think? Do you think the Switch is going to be the number one again come October? Well, for the month of October, do you think it's going to be number one again?
Yes, I do.
You do? What makes you think it'll be number one for October?
The Switch is more readily available. Not that I think the PS5 couldn't hold the spot, because I think that it could, because they're a lot more available now. Scalpers are selling them. I think some scalpers are deterred because they know that they are more readily available. They know that people don't necessarily have to go to them to buy them. So, like, it is more readily available than it has been. But at the same time, the Switch has always been readily available for the most part, which is how it's held the 33-month streak. And I think with some of the games that Nintendo is, excuse me, some of the games Nintendo has now, especially with Metroid Dread, people are who might have not owned a Nintendo console for, like 4, 5, 6, however many years, have now seen Metroid Dread and be like, huh, that looks like a lot of fun. Switch isn't super expensive. Let me go buy one. So yes, I do think that the Switch will retake the number one spot again for October.
See, I think they will too. I don't think it's because of Metroid though. Metroid will help, certainly. I'm not saying
I don't entirely think it's because of Metroid.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's because of Metroid, or at least not entirely because of Metroid. I think it was because of the OLED. Yeah, the OLED model came out this month, and people who already have Switches bought an OLED. People who don't have one will get the OLED because they're like, "Ooh, it's the new one. It's got a better screen, bigger screen, better speakers, so on and so forth." That will be the reason why. I mean, in addition to just the Switch being the beast of a console that it is, that will be what helps boost it up to number one for the month of October. I will be surprised if it's not, but if it is, that is the reason why. Now, going past October to the holiday season, how do we think the Switch is going to fare? Because last year, I think we might have been a bit uncertain, and I saw many people were uncertain. They're like, "Huh, are the new consoles going to be, at the top for the MPDs, or are they going to surpass the Switch this holiday season?" And the Switch held out. They were sellouts and everything and stuff, and I think production, or like the production pipeline and supply, has gotten a bit better over the past year. So what do we think is going to happen? Do you think the Switch is going to be able to retain the number one spot for November, January, and February? November, December, and January? Or do we think that, well, I said January as like an extra month thrown in there, but more so November, December. Do we think it'll hold that spot? Or do we think 1 month or both months it'll be knocked out by PlayStation?
I think at least 1 month. I think December especially it will hold out, because this, again, it all comes down to stock, right? Because like so many people are going to be wanting a PS5, and it's Christmas season, so you could even argue that more people will be wanting a PS5 than have been throughout the year, right? Because you'll have kids asking for them for Christmas, or spouses, or partners, or friends, or whatever. So there's going to be an extremely high demand for PS5, and I would argue Series X as well, over the Christmas period. But I think the most readily available of the three will be Switch. So I think at least in December it will retain its number one spot. November, I'm a bit iffy on because Black Friday. You might have some like Black Friday deals on the PS5, the Series X, like get like an extra controller or a free game or something. So that I don't know, but I think especially in December it will be, it will hold its spot.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how it'll fare. I think it, like, I want to say it'll be number one. And part of me just wants it to be number one forever, just to be like, the Switch is the monster. The Switch is doing it. It's beating everybody. Part of me just wants it to be number one for eternity.
Yeah.
I know that will never, I know it's not going to happen though.
Yeah.
But I think that it's tough because if it was to be, I could see it being number one for either month or both months, honestly. I really can. Like you said, it'll be more readily available. I think the Switch is the only one you can actually get in stores on like a regular basis. The PS5 and the Series X, I'm pretty sure you can still only get them online. Maybe some stores sell them in person like on a regular basis now, but I think most stores still only sell those online as far as I know. What's up?
In the Xbox groups I'm in on Facebook, I see quite a lot of people getting like Series S's and a few Series X's in store at Walmart.
Okay, so could be wrong on that one. Probably am wrong on it. But I mean, even still, the Switch is still a more readily available console. And I think that, I don't know, I was gonna say maybe like the Animal Crossing update and expansion will like entice a whole lot of people to get the Switch. But I mean, if you that's more so a thing for if you already have a Switch, then like, hey, you're gonna get this. It's not, I don't think that's the thing where it's like, get the Switch for this expansion or anything like that. I mean, regardless, it's going to do very well. I think it will be number one in at least one of these months. And at least November or December, it will be number one. I'm not sure which one. I think it will be number one in at least one of these months, though, for certain.
Yeah. And obviously, the number one factor driving people to buy a Switch is going to be Sora and Smash.
Thank you. Thank you. You already know. You already know. Our boy is the one who's saving the Switch. He's bringing the Switch all types of success. He has to. He's the one. Keyblade master out here. Thank you for that, Keiran. We're going to move from PlayStation and Nintendo over to Xbox, though, because Game Pass has slowed down its subscriber growth quite a bit in comparison to last year. Reading this Axios article by Stephen Totilo, who some might remember from Kotaku. He was the editor-in-chief over there. Titled Xbox Game Pass subscriptions miss Microsoft's target. And Axios, the way they do their articles, they're not like standard articles. It's more so like they do their articles like bullet point things. They're really like straight to the point. Like, this is this, this is this, this is this. So not a normal type of article. So we'll kind of go through a little bit of this. It says here, subscriber growth for Microsoft's signature gaming service, Xbox Game Pass, was slower than the company hoped it for in the past year, according to a new financial filing. Why it matters. Xbox Game Pass is often touted as the best deal in gaming, and a subscriber count is a shorthand measure for Microsoft's gaming success. So they have their by the numbers thing here saying, for the 12 months that ended on June 30th, Xbox Game Pass subscriber growth was up 37%, but the company has set a 48% growth goal. In the company's prior fiscal year, which ran from mid-2019 through mid-2020, Game Pass subs were up 86%, exceeding a target of 71%. So we move on a bit down here, and then they have a section here where you like reading in between the lines and all, saying, while it's notable that Microsoft missed one target, it's also of interest that Game Pass subs are a target at all. In 2019, the company added Game Pass subscriber growth to a short list of performance goals for top executives, including CEO Satya Nadella. It's the only pure gaming metric listed in the executive's payment plan and sits alongside other priority targets, including a number of LinkedIn sessions and usage of Microsoft Teams. Reaching certain targets over the course of 3 years pays out more stock to those executives. And looking down, there is a Yeah, that's about it. They have like a little like big picture here, like where Game Pass fits into everything Microsoft,
Yeah.
into their bigger plan and all like that. Um, but this is the core of it all. So essentially, Game Pass subs were only up 37% as opposed to the 48% they wanted. But last year they were up 86%, exceeding their target of 71%. Now, Keiran, I've seen some people say, like, oh man, some people have seen it as like doom and gloom, kind of sort of, but other people are like, well, that's also like thinking about the circumstances. Last year was 71%, but it went up 86%, given, there was like the pandemic happened and all types of things happened. Like
Yeah.
it made sense, it shot up so much. And now this year they missed their target goal by a fair amount, I would say, by about 11%.
Yeah.
That's not a small amount, but it's a substantial amount to miss your growth goal by.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I've seen some people saying like, "Oh man, it's bad for Game Pass. It's bad for Microsoft," and I I think I'm sure they're disappointed by it, but I don't necessarily think it's like doom and gloom per se. Um, but I wonder, like, what do you think of this first off? And like, whatever goal they set for themselves next year, do you think that they'll be able to surpass it?
I don't think this is, doom and gloom. Like this spells the end for Xbox Game Pass. I don't think it's that severe. Yes, they're going to be upset they didn't hit their goal, and they're probably going to have some internal conversations about that as to why that didn't happen. But I'm actually surprised because during this time period, June 30th, and then 12 months previous, during that time, they announced and acquired Bethesda. So I thought that would have been a big driver of Game Pass sales
We'll
because
talk about that in a bit.
because all of Bethesda's games are going into Game Pass. I think you are going to see a huge spike in about a month when a month and 2 weeks when Halo Infinite launches. I think you're going to see a small spike when Forza Horizon 5 launches. But in terms of, did you ask what do you think they would do for next year?
Yeah, I think I asked, do you think that like they'll be able to surpass whatever goal they set for themselves for the new fiscal year? And real quick, before you answer that question, I want to say that I imagine part of why they missed their goal for like the most recent goal is because Halo got delayed. Had Halo
Yeah.
not been delayed the way it was last year, I'm certain they probably would have hit that goal.
Yeah.
So because Halo was delayed, of course, that throws all types of things out of whack, and automatically financial goals are going to be missed or like drastically like downscaled or whatever the case may be. So with that in mind and all of that, do you think that they'll be able to surpass whatever goal they set for themselves for this new fiscal year? Halo is coming out this year, unless it gets delayed again. Forza's coming out in like a week or so from now. What do you think?
Depending on, hang on, sorry, I'm looking something up. I think it depends. It depends on, whether they announce any new studio acquisitions and how much people care about the studio they acquire. I think it depends how Forza Horizon and Halo get scored review-wise. I think that it depends on how those games are received by, non-reviewers. I also think it depends if they, release any other games that would appeal to people to subscribe to Game Pass within that period. That's what I'm looking at just now, is how many are Microsoft planning on, or do they have any more, either first party titles or like things they have
made.
Yeah, things they have a running in. You say like Scorn would be one of them, right? Or Stalker 2. How many of those are going to drive people towards Game Pass? So I think they're going to have to, I mean, obviously they do this every year. They're not stupid. They run their business very well. That's why they're $1 trillion company. But they're going to have to really sit down and look at, okay, what things can we add? Who can we acquire? And what things are people wanting from the Game Pass service? And then how likely is it, can they do that within the time space of, that yearly period of goal setting for Game Pass growth, and kind of work out a number from there? Because
I think you could look past. I think you could look past just like first party or like first party like deals or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they added Scarlet Nexus this past month.
Yeah.
They added Avengers to Game Pass. They are adding the GTA San Andreas remaster to Game Pass. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. They've added other
Back 4 Blood
game. Back 4 Blood as well. Yes. Like, it's not just about Microsoft first party. Microsoft first party is a big factor in it.
Yeah.
But you have to look past them as well and look at what other big games are coming to the service day and date, or is coming to the service in general.
Yeah.
And these big games that they've added, I'm thinking about the ones they've added since June. So these are ones that they've added to the service since June. And I'm certain that they have definitely contributed to growth. GTA will certainly help contribute to growth because it's GTA. Even if it's only there for a few months, it just will. It's coming there day and date. It's just going to contribute a whole lot. So I think that when you combine all that with Halo and Forza, those first party titles coming out, at least for right now, it seems like they have a good like shot in the arm for the latter half of 2021 in terms of Game Pass growth. Now, where things go for the first half of next year up to June of next year, that's a different story because we don't really know too much about what 2022 looks like in terms of gaming, not just Microsoft, but just gaming in general.
Yeah.
It becomes a very different story. And I want to jump into this games industry.biz opinion piece here. Where I forgot who it was that wrote it, but I'm going to tell you right now. It was, I believe it's James Beck. Nope, it's Rob Fahey. Rob Fahey wrote an opinion piece over for gamesindustry.biz titled "A Missed Target Reveals Game Pass's Growing Pains." And I'm going to read the little subheader here that kind of gives you an idea of what he's saying in the overall piece. He says, for the subheader, the subscription service may be beloved for its back catalog, but even more so than Xbox itself, it desperately needs high-profile new software to drive growth. So that I jumped down to the end, and I grabbed a 2-paragraph section from near the end of the piece that I want to read here, where he says, "Indeed, the same financial report which revealed the growth undershoot also included a single bullet point about Game Pass's highlights in the past year, namely the launch of 20 of ZeniMax's back catalog titles on the service, which, for all that many of these games are beloved, is a pretty weak thing to pull out as your full year highlight for your great shining hope for the future of gaming. A few Xbox exclusive have launched day and date on Game Pass, but it would be hard to point to one that seems likely to have pushed a lot of consumers over the edge into punching in their credit card details and becoming Game Pass subscribers. That's really what this comes down to. For all the value it offers in terms of back catalog, Game Pass faces exactly the same fundamental challenge as any game console in history when it comes to actually getting people to subscribe in the first place. The back catalog value offering is a retention mechanism, is a reason for people to stay in the system once they've taken the first step. But to get those customers in requires big, high-profile titles that people really want to play, and for which Game Pass offers the best way, for reasons of cost or functionality, of doing so." And I think that's a very important thing. Because I mean, like you said, you would have thought that them purchasing Bethesda and then adding all those games to the back catalog would have boosted a bunch of, subscribers and everything. And I'm sure some people did subscribe, to play those games.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also very positive. A lot of people are like, that's cool. It'll be there when I subscribe. Yeah. Like, that's not going to push somebody to be like, oh man, I can play all Bethesda's games now. Whoopee, let me jump on and subscribe right away. Like, unless you're a diehard Bethesda person, that's not going to get you to go over. That's not going to be the thing that pushes you to subscribe or anything like that. Having all this back catalog stuff of Xbox games to play is not the thing I wouldn't imagine it being the thing for some people to be like, I'm going to subscribe now. That's what gets you to subscribe if you're new to Xbox, because then you're like, I have all these games there. But if you're already in Xbox's ecosystem, that's not what gets you to subscribe. That's what keeps you in it, because you're like, all right, I'm subscribing for these new games, but there's also all these old games for me to play as well if I so choose, while I'm, waiting between stuff or whatever. It's the new, bigger things that they need to have coming to the service. It's your, like we said, your Scarlet Nexus, that's coming. Granted, not day and date, but it's coming sometime after, and it's a new game. Back for Blood, day and date. Yeah. San Andreas Remastered, day and date. Halo, Forza, day and date. Psychonauts 2, that's a first-party game.
Yeah.
And it did come day and date. But I wouldn't say that it's of the same caliber as like a Halo that's going to get people over. I don't know if I'd even say it's on the caliber of Horizon. Forza Horizon, I mean. Because Forza Horizon, it's a racing game, yeah, but it's established so much clout and popularity in the Xbox ecosystem that like that would get people to subscribe for sure.
Yeah.
Age of Empires games, that's not going to get people to subscribe. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's a bonus if you're in there and you like RTS games.
Yeah.
So they need the newer games. And I'm going to say one more thing.
Yeah.
It's not just that they need these new big games. Looking strictly at first party, they need to be good.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be good games. And I think that leads us to the second question, which I'll ask here if you don't have anything else to say. I saw you have raised your hand.
No. Never mind. Never mind.
Well, you sure?
Yeah, 100%. Go for it.
Okay, because the next question I was going to ask you was, do we think that the coming years will see consistent growth in Game Pass subscribers? And I do think things will keep growing, but do we think it's going to be like consistent, substantial growth with Game Pass subscribers? Or is it going to be like small, steady growth? Do we ever think we'll see the numbers go down in any way? And the reason I say the coming years is because, as people have been saying since 2015, 2016, whatever year it was, this is Xbox's year. This is the year. Yeah. This is the year. They made all the acquisitions. This is the year. This is the year. This is the year. And we've yet to see the fruits of any of that labor come out.
Yeah.
And people have been saying, oh man, Xbox has all these studios now. It's happening. They got all these studios. They're good. They got it. They're on Sony's level now. They have all the studios. We can't say they're on Sony or Nintendo's level.
No, nowhere near.
Until we can see that the games, they have all these studios, but until we can see that the games are actually of good quality. That's when we could say, all right, now Microsoft's first party is actually up to snuff.
Yeah.
Now, you have Bethesda. That's like I feel like that's a cheat code in a sense, but sure, you got Bethesda there. So Starfield next year, day and date, like you can almost guarantee, hopefully Starfield will be really great. After that, you have, I don't know when, but Fable's supposed to come out at some point. You have Avowed at some point. You have Perfect Dark at some point. You have Senua's Hellblade, the sequel. I'm just naming those four. Those four, which we would hope will be really great.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know. Starfield is the only one where we could kind of guarantee or like really assume it will be great. But Fabled and Avowed and Perfect Dark, we really don't know. We don't know how good they're going to be, how good they won't be. Everwild, the exact same story. We really don't know what the heck's going on with that. That could go any which way. So if the games aren't good, then it doesn't matter if they're first party. It doesn't matter if they're coming to Game Pass day and date. Yeah, people will play it, but if the games aren't good, why are people going to be? People aren't going to be like excited about them. People might not be like, well, why am I still subscribed to this then if the games that you're putting out for me aren't that great? I get them for free. I'll have to pay for them, I guess. I'm paying with description, but like, why am I still here?
Yeah. I think that's a very good point. That if you look at it on the flip side, right? So say Game Pass was Sony's, right? And Microsoft didn't have it. When you have God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us, people would be losing their minds to subscribe to that service to play those games for $15, right? Versus on the Microsoft side, you've had Recore, you've had
it's in my play later.
Yeah, no, like I don't hate Recore, right? Just off the bat, I don't hate it. It's not the greatest game ever. It's not terrible. I think it was reviewed like 7s, something like that.
Yeah, but it's not the one where you're like, I gotta play this.
Exactly.
Play it.
Microsoft, the only, and this might be a little bit biased, but the only game that I think Microsoft has had like that in recent memory is Ori and the Will of the Wisps and Ori and the Blind Forest to some extent, where people are like, yeah,
Don't Forza in there. I would say those two. I mean, I'm thinking first party Forza for sure.
Forza Horizon 4 specifically.
Okay, fine, sure. Forza Horizon 4, certainly.
Yeah. Because I was like, I don't know if people are like head over heels to play Forza Motorsport, but you know.
Oh, I thought I said Horizon. Sorry, I thought I said Horizon, but no. Yes, specifically that one, and also Gears 5. Based on the reception I heard from Gears 5.
Okay, so Microsoft's had a few games where people are like, really excited to play them, but nowhere near one as many and two as excited as people have been to play God of War, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon, right?
Ratchet.
And Ratchet, exactly. So the games need to be good, for one. Two, in order to continually grow Game Pass, you need to continually be making deals of the Back for Blood, of other games that are like, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but games like third-party games that people are excited.
GTAs, the Scarlet Nexuses.
Yeah, third-party titles that people are very excited to play. Launch them, as many deals as you can make. Launch them day and day into Game Pass, because that is going to drive growth. Like this articles or like this games industry.biz article says, is you need new, highly anticipated, or I don't know if that's the exact wording they use, but requires big, high-profile titles that people really want to play. But you need those deals in order to grow Game Pass, because like we've seen, they have 23 first-party studios, and in the last 2-3 years they've released not that many first-party games. So you cannot base your Game Pass subscription off of Microsoft first-party titles only, because then you will subscribe for a month, 3 months out of the year, 4 months out of the year, maybe. Whereas if you continuously have highly anticipated third-party games launching in the servers day and date, then you are gonna see growth in that. But I think, to answer your question, do we think the coming years we'll see consistent growth in Game Pass subscribers? 2022, I'm gonna say not really. I think there is one game we know about, and that's Starfield, that is, I think, really gonna drive Game Pass growth. That's it. What 2020, if you look at like 2023, 2024, 2025, I think that you are going to consistently start to have big Game Pass growth, theoretically, because you have the likes of Perfect Dark, Hellblade 2, Fable, Avowed. You have all these games that are currently in development, hopefully launching within the next, I'll say, 3 to 4 years. So that, I think, will drive Game Pass growth. But again, they need to be good.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Game Pass is a really interesting service. It's a really exciting service. It's a really disruptive service. So I'm really fascinated in seeing how it continues to grow, how it continues to evolve, and what Microsoft just continues to do with it, and how much more importance they continue to place on it, and just, what they do with the service in the coming years. I'm really curious to see, but I think that, Game Pass is going to be fine. I wonder when we'll get more numbers for it, like subscriber numbers. Because again, Phil Spencer said, yeah, we're just sticking with the 18 million we said publicly. We're not saying anything new, but we'll give more numbers in some time.
Yeah.
So I wonder when we'll get those numbers. Maybe after Halo Infinite, maybe in December at the end of this year. Who knows? Maybe at the 20th anniversary event, they'll be like, yeah, Game Pass is now at 30 million subscribers. Oh my gosh, yeah, we already knew that, but yeah, that's crazy. Like who knows? But Game Pass is doing great. I've been looking forward to seeing, again, what comes down the pipeline for this for the service in the future. Simple as that. Okay, so now we got 3 trailers that we just briefly go over real quick. 2 of them came out literally. I think one of them came out while we were recording last week's episode, and the other came out after we finished recording. Talking about Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Because last week when we recorded. It was DC Fandom. And Keiran and I, we had talked about, hey, maybe recording after Fandom was done so we could talk about the trailers.
Yeah.
But we also didn't know when the trailers were going to be shown during Fandom. And we didn't want to wait like 4 hours for 2 trailers just to talk about them on the show. So they're here now. Let's talk about Gotham Knights first. Again, we don't have to talk about them too much or anything like that. But Gotham Knights trailer, it got me more interested in this game than I actually thought I would be. Keiran, what about you? How do you feel about it?
I'm excited, I guess you could say. I liked what the trailer did. I liked what it showed, but I still would like to see some more from it before I'm sold on it.
Yeah, like we saw a gameplay of it last year when it was first announced. Like got a nice lengthy gameplay demo of it and all. I just really like the vibe that this trailer was giving in terms of the story, because I've never read the Court of Owls story, the comics, but I know people absolutely love it and swear by it and say it's one of the best Batman stories ever written. So I'm excited to like delve into it and see what makes it so interesting, especially in a world where in this world Batman is dead. It is just up to the Bat family to take care of things.
Yeah,
and we see them literally going to Penguin like, "Hey, Penguin, tell you got information on them, help us out." And Penguin's like, "Hey, yo, like you might not want to do this, dude. Like, you sure you want to do this one? Because this ain't the best idea. These are tough people right here." So like seeing that dynamic had me so interested and invested. And this trailer just gave off such a creepy, ominous vibe that I was just like, I'm really in on this story. Like I want to see more of the gameplay for sure. But I think I'm really all in on this game just after seeing this story trailer.
Yeah, no, I mean, I also haven't read too much of the Court of Owls stuff. If you've watched the TV show Gotham, it dealt with the Court of Owls a little bit.
I heard about that.
So that like that's that's the main thing that I've seen about the Court of Owls. I've read like a minuscule amount into it, but out of all the Batman stories I've seen, it's definitely one that intrigues me the most. But yeah, I'm very, very interested to see exactly what the Court of Owls role in this game is going to be.
Okay. Why do you say that? Like, you don't think they're going to have like a similar role in the comics or what?
No, it's just I think that comes more from like not knowing like a huge amount about them. Again, I've done like a minuscule amount of research into them, but I like in terms of I want this game to kind of teach me more about them, I guess you could say.
I see. Yeah, I know nothing about them. I might read the comics before playing the game, but no, yeah, that trailer did it for me. I was like I was interested in the story before, but that trailer I was like, and this is the one that got me in on the story. Now I'm in on it, and you know what? I might have to go back and watch that gameplay trailer just to be like, you know what? I'm really in on this game. I'm really in on it. So I'm excited for it. We still don't have a date, only 2022, and yeah, just looking forward to that one for sure. But then we also got another look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. No gameplay, just story trailer for this, which is fine with me. I would have liked to see gameplay, but it's cool that we got a better look at the story. It was in engine and everything. We could see Amanda Waller. We see the characters. We actually see some of the Justice League members that will be appearing in this, aside from Superman. We got to see the Flash. We got to see Green Lantern, John Stewart Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman also briefly makes an appearance in this as well. Keiran, what are your thoughts on this trailer after you saw it?
This one I am all in on. This one I am 100% getting. Suicide Squad is after the Avengers, my favorite, like I guess you could say like superhero teams, anti-hero team, whatever you want to call them. They're my favorite. Team. Yeah. I will 100% be playing as Harley Quinn, one of my favorite Batman characters. So I'm super excited about this game. This trailer sold me on it even more, especially the part where Superman has his laser eyes.
Yeah, like I like this trailer with the vibe it gave off. It was just like it continued to give the carefree, happy-go-lucky, we're rebels type vibe that the original trailer gave, and all like that. I think it's interesting that it looks like Wonder Woman isn't infected. I don't think she's taken over by Brainiac. Because if you look at the characters, the ones who are, they have all the purple stuff on their face. So Superman has it, the Flash has it, and when you see Wonder Woman, like there are like quick glimpses you can like really really quick glimpses you see of her face, and of those quick glimpses, she doesn't appear to have any of that around her eyes. Yeah. And of course, we also see her fighting Superman and kill one of the like the Brainiac creatures early in the trailer. So it leads me to believe she's not like possessed or controlled by Brainiac at all. So he might be working with her possibly in this.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be really interesting to have probably one of the more powerful members of the Justice League not infected. So I think that's gonna be an interesting dynamic. I also got really excited when the Flash turned up because the Flash is my favorite superhero. So I am very much looking forward to fighting the Flash.
Yes, same here. I wonder if that's Barry Allen Flash or not. The reason I wonder is just because I don't know if it was in this trailer or if it was like a screenshot that came afterwards, where it looked like you could see his face and he looked like he was African American. And I'm pretty sure African American Flash is Wally West. So I wonder if it's him. And I mean, like it might have just been like the lighting on his skin and everything, but his skin tone looked like mine. So I was like, I wonder if that's Wally West Flash. Since I mean, we have John Stewart here. You know, John Stewart's not always in the Justice League. Sometimes it's Hal Jordan that they have. So I wonder if it's Wally West as the Flash. Not like it matters much to me or not. I was like, I'm curious. I wonder if it is. But yeah, it was seeing the characters there was cool. They're definitely not shying away from being violent. We're seeing people's heads get blown off and stuff. They're possibly gonna have the Penguin get his blown off. Maybe they're messing with him at the end, just teasing him and stuff. It just looks like again, we saw no gameplay, but the trailer sold me on the story. Like I was already interested in the story, and this one was like, you know what, you got me with the story and the vibe, and I'm in on it totally.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to kind of tack on to what you were talking about. If it is Wally West as the Flash, that's dope. I love basically everything about the Flash, just as a point of note. But I also wonder if you are gonna have I don't think so, but potentially Barry Allen is the Flash and then Wally West is Kid Flash. I wonder if you will have maybe like a couple other like characters from like the individual superheroes universes turning up.
Yeah, maybe if they're like not infected or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, we also haven't seen Batman yet.
No.
And I mean, if you've played Arkham Knight, spoilers for Arkham Knight, he may or may not be alive afterwards. So who knows if he's here in this? If he is, they're definitely going to keep that one close to the chest. They're not going to show that in any trailers, probably. So yeah, Suicide Squad looked great, looks cool. The final trailer we got this week, though, this one came out yesterday, day before we recorded this. The GTA remasters, the trilogy, the definitive edition, finally got a reveal trailer, literally a minute long, just showing scenes from the original game, and then like a pans over to like the new version. And man, this I expected it to be like this, but I still wasn't ready for how good this actually looks.
Yeah.
Like this looks really, really good. Like graphically, what they did visually looks great. Character models look great. It still has the original art style, just with modern visuals. Everything just looks so much better.
Yeah, this is a trailer I actually hadn't seen yet. I'm watching it just now. The graphics I think you can hit the nail on the head. It's night and day between the original and the new one. Like it's still the same like general art style. Still has that like you can tell it's an older game, but just modernized and kind of brought up to snuff for like the latest release of consoles and the modern day, I guess you'd say. But it looks really good.
Yeah, like I'm very excited. I've only played GTA 3 of this bunch, and I've never even finished. I've played a good number of missions from it. Like the part here where you see the guy saying, "Hey, I got a job for you," something like that. Like the mechanic with the girl sitting on the thing. That's like one of the first missions in the game. So I've done that. I know that part for sure. But I've never played Vice City, never played San Andreas, so I'm excited to actually play those games now. And like, this is just, I'm excited to just go back to these games because these, like, GTA 3 was one of my favorite games to play when I was a kid, and I should have been playing it when I was a kid, but I loved to play it as a kid. So getting to play that one all the way through, and now experience Vice City and San Andreas for the first time as well. Vice City, one that people hold near and dear to their hearts. San Andreas, one of the best GTA games, you know, that people also hold like in high regard and everything like that.
Yeah.
Really excited to be able to play these games for the first time. They released digitally on November 11th for all consoles and PC, and they will also be released physically on December 7th as well. So if you want to wait for a physical, you got to wait about a month. If you want digitally, you get them all November 11th. As we said before, San Andreas Remaster will be available on Game Pass on November 11th, day and date. GTA 3 will be on PlayStation Now on December 7th, I believe it is. I think it's December 7th or December 4th. It's sometime in December when GTA 3 comes to PlayStation Now. So gotta wait about a month for that remaster to be like on a subscription service for Sony. But nonetheless, it's really cool. That's funny. I saw someone, I think it was actually Steven Totillo, he said, so that leaves Vice City to come to Nintendo Switch expansion pack. And I was just like, haha, that's a funny one. That's a funny one. But no, yeah, this is really cool. I am very excited for this. I saw a whole lot of people kind of ragging on like the looks. Well, not a lot, but I saw some people that saying like, oh man, the characters look like Sims now, like kind of joking about it. I was like, I see what you mean. Some people say they look like Roblox characters. I'm like, I kind of see what you mean. Like,
Yeah.
China, that still has the same art style, but like when you modernize the look and everything with the different lighting and everything,
Yeah.
it look a bit cartoony and stuff. But I mean, back in the day, all the characters were like a bit cartoony looking and stuff. So
Yeah,
it's cool. I'm excited about them. I will get them for PS5 for sure. Of course, they also said on Rockstar's website, I don't have all the details in front of me, but PC, well, I think it said it will have like DLSS. I think it said it'll be 4K. Everything's been like really looking really good.
Yeah.
Next gen consoles up to 4K and 60 FPS as well. Older gen consoles, they didn't say like any specific technical stuff, so I would imagine 30 FPS on older consoles, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe only 60 on Series X and not Series X, One X and PS4 Pro, maybe. Who knows? But probably not, since they didn't specify that.
Yeah.
But I will get them on my PS5. Maybe I'll get them on my Switch too, so I can play GTA on the go. I haven't decided yet. Interesting times. We've talked about a whole lot of news this episode. Now it's time to talk about what we've been playing this week. As you can see, I have played a lot.
Yeah.
What have you played though? I want to hear what you've played first, because you don't have as much as I have, and you have one game I'm very excited to hear about.
Yeah. Continue with Far Cry 6. I am almost done with it. I think I am, if I had to guess, around about halfway through the like third of the three, like do these areas then beat the game kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So I think I'm about halfway through the third area.
Okay.
Still enjoying it. I'm not going to go into detail about it because one, it's a spoiler, and two,
saving thoughts for review.
Yeah. Something caught me off guard.
Bad way or a good way?
Good way, I think. But like,
okay.
Yeah, I think that's all I can say about it because I don't want to go into too.
That's fine.
But yeah, still enjoying it, still working through it. I haven't done a huge amount of side stuff yet. I'm saving that for once I'm finished the story because I want to get through that first. Yeah. Other thing I've been playing is Back 4 Blood. I haven't played it for long. I've played it for maybe like 4 hours. On what day? Wednesday, I think. Because it's on Game Pass. It's a lot of fun. It's
nice.
More fun than I was expecting to have with it. I've never played Left 4 Dead. The only thing from Total Rock I've played is Evolve, which I really, really, really enjoyed. And it got shut down and I was very sad. But it's a lot of fun. I've done the tutorial, which is like took about an hour. And it's like 4 or 5 kind of like it's act 0, I guess you could say. and then it kind of sets up going into Act 1, which I think I've only done the first 2 missions in. I played it with one of my streamer friends on Wednesday because she also wanted to try it out. Killed a bunch of zombies. Kind of figured out how the card system works, not 100% yet.
That's what I wanted to ask you, because like I've heard about this card system and it seems complex and complicated, but like maybe it's something that makes sense when you're actually like doing it and all.
Yeah. So you find cards while you're in the like kind of basically the way you transition between levels is you go into a safe room. So you'll like
Yes, I
say
know
like
about that.
yeah. And between safe rooms as you work through levels, you will find like weapons, you'll find like grenades, molotovs, healing stuff, and then you sometimes you'll find cards as well. And then when you get back to, I guess you could say, like the hub, because there's like a little like camp kind of area that's got like a shooting range and a bunch of tents. You can go and customize weapons and like build out your decks, so you can kind of like as you collect cards, you can, when you get back to this like hub, customize a deck that you go into the next or like go into the next area with, I guess you could say. There are definitely some quality of life improvements to be made to the game. The most notable that comes to mind is when I started the tutorial, I was playing as, I think his name is Evangelio. Don't ask me his stats off the top of my head, like what he does, because I can't remember.
But I didn't realize they each had like stats and stuff. I forgot about
that. Like one will give you like plus 10 team health, plus stamina, plus whatever. So I played as him, and then once you finish the tutorial, you get access to the other 4 characters, which I can't remember their names off the top of my head either. So you can choose from 8 characters total, but I don't think you can change characters during a run. So like you have to go and finish like the run you're doing. So like I tried to change character between the tutorial and the start of Act 1, and I thought I changed to a character. Hoffman. I thought I changed to a character called Hoffman, and then when it loaded me back into the level, I was still Evangelion. So that's one thing I would definitely like to see them kind of change about the game, is being able to change character between that, because you don't have access to like the 4, what I would say is like the 4 badass characters during the tutorial, but you do afterwards, and you can't change it. But it's also quite difficult. Like even with 4 people, like I don't think there was a mission where at least one of us didn't at least go down. Because as you're
walking, Left 4 Dead for you right there.
Yeah. Because as you're walking through, there will be like birds, and you can't startle birds because it will call a horde, and the horde is like a horde of zombies. It's a lot to deal with. Haven't tried nightmare mode yet, which is like horde times a million apparently. I watched watched like the tutorial video of it, and I was like, yeah, I don't fancy doing that. So but no, it's on Game Pass. If anyone has been interested in it, definitely try it. It's a lot of fun. Definitely try it with people. That's what I'll say.
Definitely I've read that like doing a single player, you basically don't progress at all. There's no progression if you're doing a single player. So it's just like kind of pointless and silly to do single player. So
yeah,
I don't know if I'll play that game. Maybe I will at some point. I'm not sure. As of right now, I'm not going to, because there's too many other games that I want to play and need to play. Like some of the ones on this list here that I have, if you're done with what you have, what you've played.
Yes, I am finished.
All right, so I've played 6 things this week. Like 4 of these could be knocked out pretty easily. So, Life is Strange: True Colors. I did the Wavelengths DLC last weekend. I enjoyed it. It was really nice. Being able to go through the year prior to the beginning of the game of the original Life is Strange: True Colors. It was like you do the whole year prior to it as Steph. So like you see what Steph's life was like when she first came to the town of Haven Springs, how she made the relationships that she did, how she, kind of came to make the record store and the radio show her own and all like that. And I will say, if you have not played Life is Strange, or Life is Strange Before the Storm, wavelengths will spoil both of those games. So if you don't care about spoiler, fine. But if you do care about spoiler and you want to play those two games, maybe wait a bit before playing wavelengths, because wavelengths will hit harder for you if you know what happened already and if you've experienced those casual relationships and dynamics. I don't want to say more than that, because I was surprised. I was like, oh wow, this person's involved in the story, and we're kind of exploring how all this affected stuff and all. This is really cool. So I really enjoyed Wavelengths overall. It was a fun, nice, cool 3 hours thing to go through. Nice way to kind of cap off True Colors, and it like literally ended like with the first episode of True Colors. It's like Alex walking into the record store and like her meeting Steph for the first time. I was like, yeah, awesome, fantastic, that was nice. So I did that. I also finished Halo 5 Guardians. It is definitely my least favorite Halo campaign of the series. I feel like it's very weird. Like, there is an A in every story, not just Halo, in every story. There's always an A story and a B story. In Halo 5, you would expect the A story to be Master Chief trying to find Cortana, and the B story to be Locke. And this, the A story, or the B story to be Master Locke trying to find Chief, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this, the A story is actually the B story, except the B story has a C story, which takes prominence over the B story. What I mean by that is, when you're Locke, yeah, you're like, oh, you're trying to find Master Chief. But then the C story pops up and is like, actually, we're going to involve ourselves in the Sangheili Civil War. And this is going to take up a good portion of the campaign from here on in. And that becomes the B story for quite some time. And it's like, while it's cool to hang out with Arbiter and stuff, this is not moving the story forward at all in any way, shape, or form. It's kind of spinning wheel. It's like the wheels are spinning in place. And it's just like a stopgap for us to do what we want to do. It's like when you're playing an RPG and you're like, all right, I need your help. They're like, all right, you need my help. Well, before I can help you, you need to do this for me. And it's like, all right, I'll do this thing for you. All right, I'll go do this other thing for me. Okay, I'll do this other thing for you. So like, by the time I got back to Chief, I was just like, okay, we're doing this. And like the final mission isn't even with Chief. Not that that's a bad thing, but the way the story works out, it makes sense how things play out and everything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did a whole lot. It threw a lot at the board, and not everything landed in great ways and stuff. I will say the part where you're going down the Guardian was really cool, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're going down, you're like jumping. I was like jump, pop, 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 keep going, jump, pop, 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 turn around. I was like, okay, this is cool. This is legitimately fun and really cool. Probably my favorite moment in the entire campaign. But yeah, and then it ends. It tries to do like the Halo 2 cliffhanger type ending, except it's like, wait, that's it. It's not the type where like, oh, I wanted more. It's just like, wait, what? That's it? That's how we're ending this? Okay. So I'm very curious now to see how Halo Infinite's story is, because 343 has said that they want Infinite to be like a fresh jumping on point for anybody. I don't see how Infinite could be a fresh jumping on point for anybody with how 5 ended. There's no way you can just go to Infinite without explaining what the heck happened at the end of 5 and where things are going. There's just no way you can. You can't with how 5 ended. And now like 5 Infinite is like, they're kind of making it up to be like the banished are like the main enemy of this. And it's just like, that's not where things. 5 left things in a really, really precarious state. And we can't just ignore that and be like, oh, the brutes are the villains now. They're the main threat. Just like, no, they were not the main threat. Someone else was, and they were a major threat to everybody. What's going on with that, actually? So Infinite got a lot on its shoulders, to say the least, say the absolute least. But gameplay of 5 was fine, though. Like I said before, I enjoyed the gameplay of Halo 5.
Yeah.
The story was just not the best. I think I forgot to mention last time when I talked about Halo 5. AI companions suck. I don't remember if I said that last time, but they are absolutely terrible. I go down and I'm like, heal me. They just run over, just like don't caution to the wind. I'm gonna come to heal you when there are 2 hunches right in front of you. Because why
Yeah.
not? You know, we're gonna try and do it, even if we die in the process. We're done.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you guys are dumb and stupid and all. But overall, it was still fine. Wasn't that bad. Um, I played some Knockout City last night. The new season has been going on, season 3. It started some time ago. I just now jumped into it this week because I was like, I want to play some Knockout City. So did some of that. They also have like a Halloween event going on too. So I was playing like the Halloween special playlists and everything. It was basically 3 teams of 2. It's essentially like kill confirmed, except candy would fall out instead. So you just collect candy. It was fun. It was cool. Did it on I also played on the new map, the jail map and all. And this map, it has like these drones. It has these spotlights, right? If you get caught in a spotlight, a machine comes up and shoots out one of the cage balls at you. So like if you don't catch it, you get caught. You get wrapped up. But if you're paying attention, like you just catch it and then you use it on someone else. So at the start of the match, what people will do is they'll run into a spotlight so that as soon as the match starts, they can just have themselves a cage ball at the start of the match and just toss it at someone. It was fun. Had a lot of fun doing that last night. Got some nice, cool little cosmetics and everything. I'll play it some more for sure. Then I played some more Deathloop yesterday too. I think I played for a total of maybe 3 hours yesterday. So like I said last time when I first started playing, I didn't make it that far. I played for like maybe an hour or so. I was still in like the tutorial part. I had just made it out of like the first area of the tutorial section.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna restart the game because I could tell like it needs to actually explain a whole lot to you. So I am done with the tutorial section. I am done with the tutorial section, but I'm still kind of in the beginning area where it's like leading, where like things are kind of linear in a sense. So what I mean by that is I now have my goal of, all right, I have to kill all 8 targets in one day. I know I need to do that. And I know how I need to do that. I need to, just get information to find everybody and kill them all in one day. I know what I need to do. The next thing I have to do now is I have to go, they're telling me, hey, your first target needs to be this person. Go to this person so you can find out how to use Residium to infuse weapons so you can carry weapons over between loops. That is the next thing I'm on now. Okay. And like this part, it's like I'm past the tutorial stage of teaching you how to play, but still in that linear part of the game where it's like, you're not quite like, they should tell you, no hand holding anymore now. Like they're done holding my hand, but they're still like guiding me like, this is the next thing you should do, you need to do. And I think after I do that part, then it'll be like, all right, now kind of tackle this how you want to. Now that you kind of have all your abilities at your disposal.
Yeah.
Because I still don't have like powers I can use yet. I only have the one that you get at the very start of the game, which is you could die multiple times before you could die 3 times before your loop is done.
Okay.
So once I finish this next mission, then I think I'll be open season. I'm enjoying it though. I am enjoying it. I've gone to each like the 4 regions that are on the island of Black Reef. They're all cool, but you were able to explore them as much as you wanted to as well. Like, even though in like the tutorial part, they're like, hey, go this way. There's one part where I was going, they were like, not this way, wrong way. They were like, eventually, like, it came on the screen, it was like, whatever, do you? Like, right, fair. So I only kind of explored one area. The other 2 of the 4, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna kind of like stay linear because I want to get through this tutorial section. So I'll hopefully have more to say about that sometime soon. I am going to be getting back to play that fairly frequently. Final 2 things I've been playing this week. I'll say Sora for last. Final Fantasy 13. I started playing that, and I've wanted to play 13 for years just because I'm like, I like Final Fantasy. I've heard things about it, not many great things about it, but I want to play it. And I am, if I'm not 10 hours in, I'm like just under 10 hours into the game, right? And I understand many of the criticism this game has already. Let me start with the good. I like the music. Music's good. It's good music. The combat's cool. It's a fun system. The Paradise system, you kind of like everyone has a different role or job that they can do, but you can kind of switch that role on the fly with the paradigm system. So like it's hard to explain without really like you actually seeing it at all. But just to keep things brief, I'm liking the combat. It's fun. It's kind of it's very simple and easy at this point in the game. I'm kind of just like, hey, do your thing.
Yeah.
But it's still like it's still dynamic and interesting and fun. Those are the only two the good things I have to say about the game now. Well, I have one last good thing to say. Saz is a great character. I like him. That's my last good thing to say. Everything else about the game ranges from okay to not great. That being, let's see, the characters are okay. Lightning is kind of bland and can be a bit rude. But that's just who she is. Vanille is a fine character. I just can't pin down her accent at all. It throws me off. And her presence is just like, is he like, it's just like, you kind of say a line or two and then you just kind of like don't say anything. It's weird, her character. Hope, he is angsty and kind of annoying, but like he has a reason for being angsty and annoying, and I understand it, but I'm just like, you kind of annoying me because you're just like, I hate you. You suck. But I'm gonna tell him next time I see him. Actually, I'm not going to. I'm not going to say anything. I'll do it next time. I'm gonna do it next time I see him. I gotta tell you something. Next time I will. It's like, either do it or get off the pot, dude. Like, come on now. But again, I understand why he's like this. I understand, but it doesn't make it any better. It's just annoying. Let's see. Snow's a cool character. I like Snow. He's fine. Haven't seen too much of him, but I like him. Sarah, she was there for a bit. She's fine for what I've seen of her. And then I think those are all the characters I've actually played with so far. Yeah. There's another one, Fang, who I know she's gonna join the party at some point in time. Fang is Bae. I'm sorry. Fang is the Bae of this game. I've known this long before I played the game, just because she just is. Fang is dope. I like her a lot. But the story is the biggest issue with this game. Okay. I've already mentioned, so I'll say it like this. Within the first hour of this game, I've always heard people say this, and I've always assumed it to be true, but you never really understand it until you like experience it yourself. Okay. Within the first hour of this game, I posted on Twitter. I forgot what it was I said exactly, but I'll see if I can find it. But essentially, the first hour of this game is just a mess. It's a mess in terms of explaining things, getting you to understand what's going on. You start this game, it assumes you know everything already. It's like the way this game starts, it's as if it dropped you halfway through a game, as if you already know all the characters and the different terms are thrown around. Like the events that are happening, it's like, wait, this seems like this should be happening like 10, 15 hours in, not from minute one. The way you all are throwing terms around, I'm just like, what the heck? Like, what the heck's going on? We got the Fal'Cie and the L'Cie and a Sanctum and a Pulse L'Cie and a Cocoon L'Cie and a what and a who's it and a what's it and a how's it and a what's going on now. I was just like, okay. And it's like the game has a data log where you can like read up on these things, right? And that's what I was doing. I'm like, all right, every time it said new data log term, cool. I would open it up and I would read it. And as I'm reading these things, I'm like, I actually don't know if I follow this. I was like, do I understand this? I'm getting a bit confused. Here I am. I said, I'm 1 hour into Final Fantasy 13 and already at a loss as to what half of these terms mean and what the backstory of the world is. All the hate that 15 got for having a, quote, hard to understand or follow story is nonsensical in comparison to this clusterfuck. Sorry, I had to drop that in there because that's just what I said verbatim. Like, I swear by that. People always say 15 story is hard to follow. It's incomprehensible. No, it's not. I've said this from day one. 15 story is easy to understand. Yes, there are some things in like alternate forms of media with anime and the movie that help make things, give extra color to characters and stuff like that. But 15 story is easy to understand and it's easy to follow. It is not confusing at all.
Yeah.
Well, maybe certain things, but it's not like so confusing when you're like, what the heck's happening? 13 is just a mess. It's just a mess. And like, it's like 2.5 hours in is when they start to try to explain things to you like you're a new person. But it's like, okay, we should have eased into this explanation and all. And like Final Fantasy games, at least the ones I've played, yes, they will start off with like some big event happening. So 7 starts off with the attack on Shinra. 10 starts off with the attack on Xanarkin. 15, it kind of eases you into that a bit more. 12 starts off. 12 is a more political game though, so it's a bit different in a sense in terms of like explaining things. Like it's way more political. But like 7 and 10, they start you off with these big things happening. It's like, oh man, crazy event happening. But it eases you into explaining what the world is and who things are and what's going on. 13 starts off with a big event and does not ease you in. It's just like, that's the Lassie. We got to stop the cocoon. What do you mean? What's this? What is that? You're just dropping terms like I know these things. It's annoying. And like, that's just one issue. It's just a mess. It's just not cleanly told. It's not the most easy to understand. Things have been made a bit easier as I've gone on, and I'm fine with the story for what it is. It's just not that great. Like it's just not told all that well. There is a good story here if things were told better and organized in a different way.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I'm along for the ride and I will understand what I understand and enjoy what I can. But that's where I am. The game is also very linear. Like linear was also a complaint I heard a lot about this game. I was just like, I wonder how bad it is. Yeah, it's kind of like just hallways. Just going forward, just forward, fight, forward, fight, forward, fight. The enemies kind of don't respawn in the area. I understand complaints. I understand complaints people have with this game. It's not going to be ranking amongst my favorite Final Fantasies, but I'm still enjoying it. That's the thing. I'm enjoying it still. Yeah. It's just I can understand every single complaint people have with this game, for sure. But final thing I played here, Sora. He's in Smash. Yeah. He's finally in Smash. I have recorded gameplay when I first started playing as him, and I was gonna record more because I wanted to show it here. But then I was like, you know what? Actually, I'm not gonna do that because I want it to be good gameplay, and I'm still trying to learn the character. And he's a tough character to learn how to play as and stuff. Well, not tough. He's easy to pick up and play, but he's very floaty, so it makes it a bit difficult for me to like get used to playing as him.
Yeah.
So I don't have like a bunch of great gameplay with him, I would say.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to like just give subpar gameplay of Sora. Needless to say though, Sora's in Smash, and I am very, very happy with this. He looks so great. It's so nice being able to play Smash and see his face there, his character emblem there, be on Hollow Bastion, hear him do fire, thunder, blizzard. It's just like, it's happening. It's actually here. Last night I was playing and I was just like, man, it's been damn near a week and I still can't believe Sora's actually in Smash. It's still so surreal for me to believe I'm playing as him. But no, yeah, like I said, he's very floaty. Like his jump, it just like his jump sends you pretty high, and you're just like, whoa, okay, we're kind of floating around a bit up here. But he's fun to play as. He is fun to play as, and I think his floatiness is like requires getting really used to. You need to get used to how high his jump takes you, how long it takes you like to come back down and all like that. Taking those factors into consideration when like you're trying to do aerial attacks and all like that. The strength, he has some strength behind his moves, and you can pull off some pretty nice combos with him. I've seen some people online on Twitter doing some nice combos with Sora and everything. The people I've been seeing doing some more people that like really play fighting games a lot and are like Smash diehards and stuff. I'm not like that. I'm a casual Smash player, but I've still been having fun with him. Trying to make the best of it that I can with him, trying to do the best I can, learn his character, learn how to pull off different moves with him and stuff like that. He is really fun. He's a really great character. I wonder where people will rank him in terms of tiers, like top tier, mid tier, high tier, low tier. I don't think he will be a mid-tier character. I think he's a top or high-tier character. That's just what I think off my bit of playing as him and what I've seen people doing with him. He is light. He can be knocked off the stage pretty easily. But again, like his recovery is insane. His up B can be then go right into his side B, which can allow you to really recover to the stage from really close down to the like off stage.
Yeah.
It's like really, really cool. It's like, wow, that is a bit overpowered. It's like you could do a combo, like regular combo, up B, then come back to the stage. It's just like, man, Sora, you are awesome. I do like the stage too. Like I said when we first got it revealed, I like his stage. I wish it wasn't just Hollow Bastion. Hollow Bastion is actually one of my least favorite worlds of Kingdom Hearts 1, but take what I could get. I don't care. I love it. I love it. So Sora's great. He's cool. I'm enjoying playing as him in Smash. I might play as him some today, actually, after we record. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I might talk about some more on further episodes. We'll see. Who knows what will happen. But that's everything I've played this week. A lot I played. There'll be less I play next week. I'll tell you that much. It'll probably be like Final Fantasy, maybe Deathloop. We'll see.
Yeah.
But that's going to wrap up episode 30 of the Play to Win podcast. Thank you all very much for watching and or listening. Remember to head over to our website, playtowingames.wordpress.com. All of our content is there. It's a nice little home for it. Go check that out. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us on social media over there at Play2Win for updates on the show. And again, like we said, talk with us over there. Send us messages, chat with us, anything, we appreciate it. Subscribe to us here over on YouTube. Turn on that notification bell as well so you know as soon as videos go live and you can be one of the first people to watch them. You get into the club as soon as the doors open, baby.
Yeah.
Come on in. It's a fun time. It's a real fun time. Share the show and all our content with anybody and everybody. It's greatly appreciated. And thank you to, again, all the new subscribers and all. We greatly appreciate any and every one of you. Mm-hmm. Keiran, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Badlynet, BADLYNET, all one word. Post some stuff over there. Still posting Far Cry 6 screenshots. So if you want to see that game running on Series X, go check out my Twitter.
Nice. You can follow me over on Twitter at TylerMiller2496, where, as you know, I like and retweet a bunch of funny stuff, and I'll tweet about stuff in the games industry and anime and so on and so forth. So follow me over there. Chat with me if any of that interests you. With all that being said, though, thank you very much for watching and listening. We will talk to you all next week. Have a great one.
See y'all there.